This is the Hermes, a Tier 3 British aircraft carrier. Yep, that's right. British aircraft carriers have joined World of Warships Legends, and what's new with these carriers is the dive bombers. Apparently they are carpet bombing dive bombers where you can get like 4 bombs on each run, and you can really rack up some damage here. So with that, let's take a look at the setup of the ship and the commander, who is Dennis Boyd. His base trait is under the radar, reduces the ship's detectability from the air. That's pretty good because a lot of the aircraft carriers have recently had their detectability nerfed, so it is kind of ironic that his base trait is under the radar. The first inspiration is Franz von Hipper to increase the secondary battery range and improve its shell grouping. The second inspiration is Tanaka, which is hull crusher. It increases the damage of your torpedoes, so your torpedo bombers will have a little bit more of an increase in the damage that they produce. So as far as the skills, the first skill is contact is imminent. Increases the travel speed of the torpedoes. I'm selecting this rather than swatting with flies or no fly zone, as I want to experiment with an increased torpedo damage and hope that the red team aircraft carrier doesn't find me and this won't be so much of an issue. But for now, I'm going with contact is imminent as an experiment. The second skill is one-way ticket. Increases the torpedo damage. So here I'm increasing the speed of the torpedoes and I'm increasing their damage, as opposed to stronghold, which reduces the damage to your aircraft carrier. This is only really an issue if you're found out by a red team ship or their airplanes. So I'm going to give the one-way ticket a try. The third skill is out of sight. Improves the concealment and maximum HP of your dive bombers. So a lot of cases you will get taken out with 1 or 2 bombing runs, whether it's torpedoes or dive bombers. And here I'm trying to help out the dive bombers a little bit. Fourth skill is Burn Baby Burn, which will increase the damage and fire setting chances of your plane's HE bombs. So with this configuration, I'm looking to help out the torpedoes and the HE bombs. And his legendary skill I've selected is the Vault. Increases the dive bomber and torpedo bomber HP, which is definitely an issue, especially in Tier 7. A lot of times you get wiped out on one run with your 8 aircraft, so I'm hoping that this will help out a little bit. It will also reduce the damage dealt to your aircraft carrier for as long as you're within the proximity of an ally, which generally is never, because your teammates seem to leave you more often than not, but that's what I've selected. So let's take a look at the setup of the ship. Let's look at the upgrades. The first upgrade is secondary battery mod 1, and the secondary battery firing range is increased by 10% and the dispersion is decreased by 10%. I've selected this rather than air groups mod 1 because I don't really care about the aircraft return speed. I guess I'm doing a little bit to try to help out the secondary batteries here. This doesn't do you any good if your aircraft get wiped out in the first run anyway, so I'm going with secondary batteries here. Second skill is Air Groups Mod 2, and this increases a dive bomber HP and a torpedo bomber HP by 3%, which is definitely an issue, as I said. So I've selected that rather than the secondary battery enhancement here. And the third upgrade is a default upgrade for the hull. Hermes Hull B, it gives you I think 300 more hit points, up to 33,200, and the rudder shift time goes down to 9.6 seconds. All right, let's look at the loadout, and you can see we have the HE bombers and the torpedo bombers, and they both have an engine cooling consumable. Duration is 5 seconds. Reload time is 80 seconds, a minute and a half, and there are 2 consumables each. As for the auto consumables here, you have a damage control party. These are both run by the aircraft carrier AI, and it's a normal damage control party. The consumable duration is 60 seconds. Reload time is 90 seconds. It's kind of a long consumable duration there, I think. And the second consumable, auto consumable, is the fighter. So when the aircraft carrier automatically attacks enemy aircraft and activates automatically whenever your aircraft carrier is spotted by an enemy. Consumable duration is 600 seconds, which is 5 minutes. Reload time is 40 seconds, so that is pretty good. They will get out there pretty quickly for a 5-minute period when it's needed, and you have 4 of those consumables. I'm not running any boosters right now, but of course when I go into battle, I may have a booster or 2. Camo, I'm not really using any camo anymore, and we'll get into that in the stats. I don't really think that the camo is going to help out, and I haven't really settled on which camo I think looks best on a ship, so I'm leaving it as is for now. As far as stats, as we said, the hit points are 33,200. Armor is 10 to 76 millimeters. As far as the aircraft, torpedo bombers, hit points are 2184. I believe that's for the squadron. Maximum speed is 132 knots. Attack unit size is 1, which I think it's normally 2, so this is kind of interesting. Aircraft per squadron is 4. And let me see, the maximum torpedo speed, or maximum torpedo damage, is 5577. Before that, the aircraft restoration time is 90 seconds, which is something to keep in mind. Torpedo speed is 39 knots, and the torpedo range is 2.4 kilometers, and I think this was helped out a little bit by the commander setup that we saw. As far as the dive bombers, hit points is 2320. That is for the squadron, I believe. Maximum speed is about the same at 133 knots. Attack unit size again is 1, 4 aircraft per squadron. Restoration time is a little quicker at 80 seconds. Maximum bomb damage is 2472, but you do have 4 bombs per aircraft, I believe. Fire setting chances is 31%. Let's look at the artillery. Secondary armament, it looks like there are 9 guns, 4.4 kilometer range, and either a 4-second reload time or a 5-second reload time. And the shell damage is either 1,500 at a 12% chance of setting fire or 2,000 at a 14% chance of setting fire. Here are your AA defenses. Not really much to talk about there, and this is probably one of the reasons for now why I didn't do anything with the AA in the commander setup or the ship setup. Maneuverability 25 knots, turning circle radius 750 meters, rudder shift time is 9.6 seconds. Concealment is 10.9 kilometers by sea, 7 kilometers by air. And let's take a look at the armor. There is some orange here, 76 to 160. So let's remove the armor around the hull and take a look at the citadel. And whoa, okay, so there's a little bit of a citadel. It looks like almost all the way, well, at least right in the middle here, but here it looked like there was some, I guess that's rust from the camo or lack of camo. So okay, so here's the citadel right here in the middle. You can see it's paper thin on top. It looks like 15 to 16 millimeters, and down below, but there is a thin strip of 76 to 160, but there is this area way above the waterline, so this could be a problem if you have a ship near you that is going to start dinging you. And the deck is 25 to 26 millimeters. I think you're going to be in trouble if you get spotted and there's going to be an enemy ship near you. Let's look at the overview. Carpet bombing. Dive bombers can drop huge number of bombs at once. That is awesome. I didn't really realize that. I did see some videos about this on YouTube, but I didn't really see this in the release notes, so that is pretty awesome. It is weird to get used to the aiming reticle, which we'll get into in the standard model. Slow aircraft with below average speed. Hermes is one of the first aircraft carriers of special construction in the world. The ship featured very good speed for her time, had armor protection similar to that of a cruiser, and carried quite a powerful secondary battery. So that is great. I didn't see many secondary guns there, but okay, that's good to know that you have a good secondary battery. One of her drawbacks was the small size of her aircraft hangar. Entered service in 1924, and there was one ship in the series. Okay, so that's it for the setup of the ship and the commander. Let's go out in a standard battle and see if we can get some highlights. Alright, well, as you can see, it took over 3 minutes to get into the match, and the teams are truncated big time. And I did see that online people were talking about a big problem here with the recent update with truncated teams and long wait times to get into these Tier 3 matches. I also had a problem getting in to a legendary match yesterday as well, but in any event, we're here with the Hermes. The idea is to show off the carpet bombing features, and you know, the torpedoes are the weapons that do get the most damage, and we're going to start out with a torpedo bomber and take a couple shots with that to kind of warm up the situation, as it were. And we're just going to go out here and see if we could target some of the red team and see if we can get used to these torpedo bombers. It is kind of weird to have a one bomber attack run, and with these torpedoes, I can tell you that you do have to lead your target by a much farther margin than you would originally think. At least that's what my problem has been. I'm completely undershooting the targets. A lot of times I'm missing to the rear. Sometimes I'll hit the rear. But the biggest problem is I'm undershooting the target. So here there's a battleship. This is the best target for either the bombs or the torpedoes because they're so slow and the ships are so big. So here you can see I'm leading him by a fair margin there, and I'm going to go straight on. I'm not even going to turn around and look to see if I got a hit, which I did, but I'm going to go right for this other battleship, which is the same line of flight here. And there it looks like I did start out with a little bit more of a lead, but he is turning into me, so I'm going to try to do my best to compensate for that. And you can see that he was able to turn just enough so that the torpedo misses. And this has been one of the frustrating things for me with the Hermes so far, is these torpedoes are pretty slow. 2.5 kilometer range is not helping either. And you have to get used to the distance that you are from the target in order to get your torpedoes to arm properly there. You can see he's turning away from me, but I do hit him in the rear end, so it's 2 torpedo hits out of 4 airplanes, which is it's okay. I switched over to the HE bombs, and we're gonna show a little bit of the carpet bombing, and you can see the reticle right there looks more round than oval that you're normally used to with the bombers. And what I found is when you start your dive bomb run here, you're going to be able to drift into the target a lot more than you were used to with the normal HE bombs from the other aircraft carriers. So I've missed a couple targets because I didn't coordinate this properly, but here I'm going to go for the battleship, which is straight on to me. Not the Corvette, but the other one right behind him right here. And I've started my torpedo run quite a ways away, and you can see that the bombs did drift right into the ship right there. So I'm going to come around and I'm going to take another run at this guy. Here I'm going to start the run right now near the rear end of the ship, and you can see that you do drift all the way up to the front of the ship, and we do manage to get one bomb hit there, even though the accuracy wasn't necessarily all that great. So I'm going to take another try at this guy, and there I'm trying to let the bombs drift right into the ship, or the ship drift into the bombs, and I do get one more hit. So 5 bomb hits, we're up to 10,000 damage. I think with the 2 torpedo hits we're at 9,000 damage. So we're getting very minimal damage out of these HE carpet bombs. And that is one thing that you're going to want to keep in mind with the Hermes, is if you can start a fire, you will accumulate some damage building up, but if you don't start a fire, you're going to have a very small amount of damage output here with those bombs. So I'm going to go again with the HE bombs. And I'm going to go back out here to these battleships. You can see where the match is even. Each side has lost 2 ships. We're slightly ahead, but that doesn't necessarily mean much. At this point, we're effectively, the match is effectively tied. I'm going to come back out here at this battleship, which is coming toward me. You don't really get very effective hits with a broadside, but here you can see I aimed right in front of the ship. I started the bomb run right when the reticle was in front of the ship. It looked like it was a very far distance away, and you just drift into the ship. At least that's the best description I have for it. So here you can see I'm starting the bomb run right here, and you're drifting all the way. When the reticle goes into the front of the ship, that's when you release, and the bombs do come down and hit the ship. Only 2 bomb hits right there. I'm going to come over and try to take a run at the other battleship here, and there I'm starting to run right at the front because he is steaming pretty heavily, and there is a fire that got started. 2 bomb hits and a fire, and he put the fire out immediately, it looks like. So 2 torpedo hits, 12 bomb hits, and only 13,000 damage. So here this is a broadside attempt, and I'm going to release the bombs right when I'm near the center line of the ship, and it's a total miss. So now we're going back to torpedoes. I'm looking to move the aircraft carrier to be a little bit farther away from these ships that look like they're encroaching on me, so I'm going back into the corner. The ships are, fairly close here. I haven't been in the air that long, and this Corvette is 5 kilometers away. So I'm going to come around here and take a run on this guy. And I released within a second of when I would have pulled out of the dive bomb run, the torpedo run. And that was a total miss. And so now I'm going to try to compensate a little bit farther ahead. There, that's a lot farther ahead, and we're going to see what this does. I think he might have been starting to turn away. He didn't. That is a torpedo hit. We're going to come around and try to get this guy again. See, I started the torpedo run really early, and the targeting cone is pretty wide, so I'm just taking a random shot, and you can see that the torpedo is nowhere near the ship because the targeting cone was so wide. Didn't have time for the targeting reticle for the torpedo to parallel out. You can see it looks like a big V here, big cone. So as you're going in your dive, you see the cone does start to parallel out. And we're just going to sit here and see if we get a hit. That was a hit in the rear end of the ship. We're up to 22,000. Damage, 4 torpedo hits, 12 HE bomb hits, and we're going to go to see if we can get some more HE bomb hits with the carpet bombing. Now both battleships are pretty far away, so I'm probably in a safe location right there. I'm afraid if I go too much closer, the battleships are going to take me out, so I'm just going to wait things out for now. As far as moving the aircraft carrier, Alright, so here you can see that the battleship is going after the cruiser over there, and I don't want to hit the battleship broadside, so I'm coming way around here to try to get a angle on him more from the front, but he looks like he is kind of angling away. It's kind of hard to get a good angle on him, but this is the best I'm going to be able to do for right now. So here I'm letting it go right near the front of the ship. And there we started 2 fires, 2 hits and 2 fires, and now the damage is starting to rack up. So even though the HE bombs only get like 2,400 in damage so far per bomb hit, once you get a fire, you can really rack up much more damage there. And there the cruiser took out that battleship, but the cruiser got wiped out. So it was an even trade. And now it's just mano-y-mano, and it's the Hermes against the Koenig with 4 minutes left. And I think the Koenig is darn near full health, so I really don't think I have much of a shot of finishing this guy off in 4 minutes with the low amount of damage output unless I can start some fires here. And there's a fire, but it is kind of starting to rack up a little bit, but it stopped. So he put out the fire pretty much immediately. So my only hope is to really start some more fires here because he just did his damage con. And so there I'm letting the bombs go at the front of the ship, and there we do start another fire, so that is great. And now the damage is starting to count up, so we can go around and take another shot at him. Hopefully we can start another fire. And this is really the only hope to get rid of this guy, is to burn him down. So there are 3 more hits, but no more fires. We're up to 32,000 damage. The fire is still going. 2.5 minutes left. 5 fires, 22 bomb hits, and 4 torpedo hits. So we're going to go out here and see if we can get some more. Looks like he is around half health, but with only 1 minute 46 left, 45 left. We're just going to see if we can hit him with multiple torpedoes here. Right, so there's 1 torpedo in the water. And turn around, I do get a hit, that is great. And a defended flag. So we're up to 40,000 damage. Going to come around and take another torpedo run at him. You can see he is turning toward me to try to minimize the broadside. Maybe I can get lucky and get a nose-on hit there. And it looks like that was good. And it is going to be another hit and another defended flag. So we're up to 44,000, 55 seconds left. And can we get 3 torpedo hits in a row on this guy? It looks like we're going to, so 3 out of 3. 48,000 damage. Can we do 4 out of 4? 28 seconds left. And is he going to continue to turn? And well, there you go. That's just how hard it is to get 4 torpedo hits in a row. 9 seconds left. Looks like we're going to lose this match, though it did come down to the wire. And that kind of shows a little bit about the Hermes and the carpet bombing. At least for now, trying to get into a tier 3 match, a standard match with the Hermes is going to take you a while. And you can see how effective the carpet bombing is. Very low bomb output, though if you do start a fire, you can really rack up some points. Torpedoes, 5,000 per torpedo hit. I did get 7 hits, 22 bomb hits, 5 fires, 48,000 damage. And as per usual with the aircraft carrier, finished in 4th place. And we did make 83,000 credits after everything was all said and done. So that's basically it for the Hermes. It's a good practice ship to kind of get you ready for the Tier 5 Furious and the Implacable. But I don't think you're really going to get much of a damage score here. I mean, you might, but you can see the bomb outputs are very low unless you can start a fire. And the torpedoes do generate more damage, but for me, they were tricky to play. This is the Jaguar, and I'll see you on the high seas. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you like it.